Good afternoon, everybody. It's an absolute honor and pleasure for me to be here today amongst all the good people at Wild Digital. Before I invite my panelists to speak, allow me to just say a few words, just give a quick snapshot about MDEC in case some of you are not familiar with us. So, as some of you may know, our journey, MDEC's journey, started many years ago, 20 years ago, with this creation of this super corridor, this multimedia super corridor that was anchored at Cyberjaya. And Cyberjaya then was a palm oil plantation, and the only building that you can see is the building that you see now. And 20 years later, Cyberjaya is a thriving city, hosting companies from over 40 countries. And these are some of the top companies in the world. At the same time, the footprint of the MSC have also moved beyond Cyberjaya. It is now at 43 cyber centers and cyber cities throughout the country, including two of the most exciting places that MSC companies are navigating towards, which is Bangsa South area as well as the Mid-Valley area. In total, 3,800 MSC companies are in Malaysia right now, are in operation, and total investment that has been brought in by these companies is at 283 billion ringgit and employing 160,000 people, which are at the high income, the 2.5 times that of the national average. Just to give you a flavor of the companies, this is a Scope International, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of Standard Chartered. They began their operation 15 years ago with a very basic 300 people doing back-end IT services. And 15 years later, they are now a 4,700 footprint company doing the full suite of global business services, including setting up a global 24/7 NERTH command control center to look into their global operations of banking as well as business operations. Another flavor. This is an 80-man strong company called Passion Republic. They are into games asset development, and they supply their assets to many AAA game companies in the world, the latest one being Uncharted. Some of you gamers here would probably be familiar with their work. On the other side of it, they will have a local company based in Penang, MDT. They are experts in smart wireless sensors. They embed IoT devices into things such as trolleys for retail solutions, even into clothing for smart clothing and smart devices. Now, we started the journey 20 years ago as the Multimedia Development Corporation, and just a few months ago we changed our name to the Malaysian Digital Economy Corporation to better reflect the fact that we are now we've been mandated to drive the digital economy for the country in a more holistic manner. And we do this through 4 pillars. The first one, driving investments through our MSC Bills of Guarantee, is still a very strong part of what we do. Building local tech giants is also very important, and these are some of the people that we are in that category. Catalyzing digital innovation ecosystems. You probably would have heard what we're doing around big data analytics. We don't do this all by ourselves, of course. In the area of startups, we play a supporting and complementary role to what Magic is doing. In the area of talent development, for instance, we are working very closely with the Ministry of Education to embed computer science and coding into schools' curriculum, and we are one of the first countries in the region, if not in the world, to be able to do that. It has been piloted, and this year is about readiness for the rollout throughout all the from Standard 3 to Form 4 in all schools in the country. And the last one is about making sure that digital economy is inclusive to all Malaysians. accelerating the globalization footprint. While we have very strong focus as a country, with strong focus via MAGIC and the other ecosystem players to build startup. In fact, there is, if you're not aware of MSC for startups, go and check it out. It's a special MSC incentive package just for startups, to flourish and to operate and to grow in Malaysia. But it's also very important that we help these companies to grow into the next level. Taking companies who are already very, very strong, such as GHL and Fusionex, which we'll hear from them later, and how do we make them into bigger companies, to double, to triple their business? And we have some early success stories from our small office in Silicon Valley. We have managed to match companies, local companies, to be able to get market access into the US market, for instance. We've helped companies to do valuation from $30 million valuation in Malaysia to $150 million valuation through matching them with the Silicon Valley VC ecosystem. And just last week, we set up a partnership with Kejora Super Accelerator to help our local companies expand into the Indonesian market. So with that, I now would like to start our panel discussion. I want to introduce to you Mr. Ivan Tay, who's the founder and managing director of Fusionex, as well as Raj from GHL. So gentlemen, how are you? Good?
Thank you. Very nice.
So I'm not used to sitting down, actually, so it's okay. We will sit down. The people have been given your bios and your profile, both Ivan and Raj, yeah? But why don't you share with them in your own words what's exciting about your companies? Maybe we'll start with Ivan.
Well, thanks, Dato Yasmin, for having us today. I'm really excited, very privileged, and very honored to be sitting in front of you amongst my fellow speaker, Raj, who's a friend. Dato Yasmin's a friend as well. And also among all of you, thought leaders, visionaries, and fellow entrepreneurs. I can see a lot of passion, a lot of energy, and very high levels. But whenever I'm asked to give an introduction, I kind of think to myself, do I give you the formal introduction, or do I give you the less formal introduction? And should I do an informal one or a formal?
Up to you.
Okay. So I'll try to do a hybrid, since these days there are many hybrid things, like cars and lots of stuff. Right. So many journalists actually talk to me and they ask me, they said, Ivan, did you ever foresee that you would be in the information technology space? Did you ever have a gut feel that you would be in this IT field? And I look to them, and without any hesitation, I say, yes, of course. I knew I would be in this IT field. And they look at me very perplexed, very confused. And then they ask a further question. How did you know that you would be in this IT field? I say that, well, that's simple. At birth, I was given the name Ivan, and my surname is Tay, and my initials are IT. Well, so that's how it all started. At birth, I think I was destined to be in this IT space, and I've never looked back ever since. So I knew that I was going to be in this IT space, whether I liked it or not, but no regrets. The information technology space is super exciting. It comes with its fair share of challenges, but that's how it all started. Now, fast forward many years down the road. People ask me more questions. And today, I can share with you the formal side of things. Today, Fusionex is a fast-growing, is an MSC status company, born and bred and in Malaysia. And today, Fusionex has to date raised about 200 million. We have been one of those crazy companies, 200 million ringgit. We have been one of those crazy companies that has politely rejected and declined probably 500 to 600 million ringgit in terms of investments. Some people say we are crazy because we have politely rejected those investments, not because we didn't want to, but just because we felt that it would be, we believe that we will only swallow what we can actually digest and we can chew. So that's why we have actually politely declined those, but obviously that was the result of our shares being oversubscribed. And in terms of market cap, the company over the last 2 years has averaged a market cap of about 1 billion ringgit, and we continue to grow very, very strongly thanks to the support of our staff, our dedicated staff, our partners, our customers, and of course good partners like MDEC and also all the ecosystem partners that we have. Now, before I proceed on the other side of the introduction, I would like to dispel a couple of myths that you might hear in the market about me and about Fusionex. Number one, People ask me this question. They said, journalists and reporters talk to me. They said, Ivan, let me ask you your age. And they say, I think you would be 31, 32 years old. And I said, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I am many years older than that. So I'm not 31, 32 years old. I'm probably many years older than that. I'll share with you in a short while. Yeah. And the next myth that I like to dispel is, but people do ask me, they said, if you're not 31, 32 years old, then what is the secret to your youthful look? I said, I don't know. It's no jumpy that I can give you, no magic potion.
No jamu, for sure.
No jamu, maybe. But what I can do is I can share with you that it will be good to be happy, engage in sports, and then also, very importantly, maybe find some parents that look youthful as well. Second myth. People say, and people come and interview and they say, Ivan, are you half American? And then journalists say that, I've seen you before. And I said, where? Where did you see me? They said, I've seen you in newspaper, I've seen you on TV. I said, okay, so it must be one of those things like The Star or Bloomberg or Astro Awani, maybe with Dato Yasmin somewhere in an event. Maybe that's where. And then they said, no, I've seen you in a Korean movie before. And then another guy says, I've seen you in a Japanese movie before. And I said, I hope those are decent movies. And then some say that I've seen you in some Hong Kong movie before. I said, I'm sorry to disappoint you guys. I'm just plain Ivan, and I'm purely Malaysian. So that's the second myth. The third myth that I keep on getting people asking me, they say, how did you start Fusionex to grow to to raise multi-hundred millions and also to be able to be averaging a market cap of 1 billion? They said, you must have started somewhere. So journalists asked me, they said, are you related to the public bank tycoon, which is Tay Hong Biao? I said, wow, where did that rumor come from? And I said, no. They said, are you the son of Tay Hong Biao? I said, no. Anybody from public bank over here? No, right? Anyway, don't put this on YouTube and Facebook. They asked me, are you the son of Tay Hong Biao? I said, no. And they asked me, are you related to Tay Hong Biao? I said, absolutely no. But maybe I know some people in the industry, but I'm certainly not, and I'm just plain Ivan. So that's the third myth. Now, as a company, as Fusionex, today we specialize in big data analytics. We are a fast-moving company that really helps organizations crunch, mine data within seconds instead of hours and days and months. And more importantly, we help companies find answers to those questions. We as a company believe in a culture that we do what we do best. And as a company, we have a mantra that we see a problem as an opportunity. And we work very much with partners, and we're looking forward to see how we can work together with yourselves and like-minded individuals and companies to grow that. So hopefully that gives you a brief introduction on Fusionex and myself. But if you like the formal introduction, I think you can find that online. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivan. And you know, he sings very well as well, so he would qualify as a K-pop singer as far as I'm concerned. Now, Raj, moving to you. Now, Raj, I know you've only been in GHL for about how many years? 4.5 years. But you know that I am familiar with GHL from the very, very beginning. And GHL is one of the companies that has evolved itself from being a simple thing. GHL started as a system integrator, and they even moved in to become a Microland. I think those really the old ones would remember. Microland was this distribution house in the US, and they had GHL started their franchise. And I know what GHL stands for. I don't think many people know what GHL stands for. But anyway, so over to you, Raj. Please tell us about what GHL is now and how it has now come all the way from those humble beginnings of a system integrator to now being a global player in the fintech space.
Happy to share, Dato Yasmin. GHL stands for Go Home Late. That's what it stands for. Actually, it's, to be honest, it's named after the founder, Goh Hing Lu, who started up the company as a computer reseller. I'm part of a new management team. I've been there for about 4 years, 9 months actually, this month. And we had to turn this company around. It wasn't doing too well when we first arrived. Its market capitalization then was about 25 million ringgit, which is very small. It had been losing money. Today, it's very different. We had 300 people then. We employ about close to 750 people in the group today. We have very, very big operations in Philippines, in Malaysia. We're number one in both Philippines and Malaysia in our category. We have reasonably sized operations in Thailand, and we have a very niche presence in Australia. Very briefly, this company has evolved dramatically in the sense that in the early days, it was a hardware reseller. We used to buy credit card devices, EDC devices, or POS terminals. And the company used to then sell these terminals to the banks and make a profit. But that had inherent problems. The top line was doing this all the time. If you sold, you were up. If you didn't sell, you were down. The bottom line was uncontrollable. And also, hardware business was getting commoditized. And we knew that it didn't make sense. So the management team actually changed the direction of the company from a hardware reseller to a merchant acquirer. This is where we go out and actually sign up merchants directly, just like Global Payments or Square in the United States or First Data Merchant Solutions. So we became a direct merchant acquirer and we started signing up merchants aggressively. And that caused us to actually increase our profitability. Today we have been profitable for the last 4 years, I'm happy to say. And we've been doubling up year on year. And also, we have been able to extend our reach and depth into the various markets in which we operate. The company today has a valuation, think about 600 million ringgit today, which is not bad for 4.5 years' work. I think the strategy is correct. We don't think we can be global yet. We are focusing on ASEAN to become regional. You need friends to become regional. Thank you, Dato Yasmin. I know you guys have helped us tremendously in MDEC, and I appreciate that. But you know, we're not a huge Malaysian company. We're not that small either. We're kind of in the gray zone. And I think right now, if you had a look for a company that you would be able to describe as an ASEAN regional company, we're it. I don't think there's anybody else, not counting the US multinationals like Global Payments and so forth. But if you're looking for an Asian company, there's no other company with this kind of footprint right through Asia. In Australia, just to briefly finish this thing off, we have a very niche presence here. And you know, one of the things we have incredibly clever people, and they've actually developed secure payment networks. You know, you have an EDC machine. It's got to send an electronic message in a secure way. The folks in GHL actually developed and patented their own payment network, which is used by a lot of banks in Asia, because we were the first to do end-to-end encryption. It just so happens that product is also used by a telco company in Australia called Optus. And Optus uses its nationwide network, which we built, to serve banks, the very large banks in Australia, to process credit card transactions. It really pains me to know that 1 in 4 credit card transactions in Australia go through our system, but nobody's heard of us. So we are the humble little elves in the background. We work like anything, trying to make these things work, but there we are, in a gist.
Yeah, thank you, Raj. So when we say globalization, in the words of Dato Sri Nazir Razak, globalization for us should be ASEAN first, Southeast Asia. Because Southeast Asia is the 7th largest economy in the world, and with the formation of the AEC coming to maturity, there is so much potential even in Asia. So regional player before global players, you know, I mean, that's perfectly on spot. Now, Ivan, you're one of the companies that I would say would that have done what I call reverse globalization. What I mean by this is that Ivan's revenue, actually 80%, I think, you know, is from global markets. And he's only now beginning to grow the Malaysian business. And we have some other companies, like there's a company called iGene that is doing digital autopsy. And the solution is granted, it is more in tune for the more matured market like in Europe. So he has now done a business, starting the business in Europe and now thinking of coming into Malaysia, into Asia. So tell us, now, you are a company that has done globalization first, I would say, right? Now, if you look at the decisions that you have made, this is a bold decision. So if you have to look at all the decisions that you have made throughout the life of your company, could you identify that one defining moment that really was a gutsy move that made you where you are right now?
Yeah, so you're absolutely right, Dato Yasmin. We started working with global organizations, global clients first in the UK, in the US, and then we kind of propagated things backwards to Singapore, Hong Kong, and we're in Macau, we're in Indonesia, we're in Philippines, we're in Australia. And finally, we decided to focus our energy in Malaysia. Today, about 82% of our revenue is derived from outside of Malaysia. And we'll be one of those companies that actually started in the international arena before coming back to Malaysia. How did this all start? What were some of the defining moments that led me and Fusionex to be what it is today? I think I'm very fortunate, very blessed. If you ask me whether a defining moment started when I was in my adulthood or whether in my childhood, I would have to say that there were many turning points in my life that have led me to do what we wanted to do today, to be a company that's entrepreneur-driven, that is very global. But the first thing is that I'm very grateful to have very good parents that gave me a very good foundation. So I like to say that I had two parents. I have a mother and a father, two parents, right? And one of them was a CEO, and one of them was a GM. So let me just qualify that. My mom, in my books, is the best CEO in the world, and everybody would say that. But she wasn't the CEO that you and I are accustomed to. She was a chief education officer. And what that meant was that she was the best teacher to me. She gave me the academic background, the foundation, whether it's English, whether it's math, whether it's science, whether it's drawing, whether it's music, and that provided the best foundation, and that was really, really important as an ingredient. My dad was not the general manager that you would be familiar with. I come from humble beginnings, so my mom and my dad are not rich people. We were generally, struggling in the earlier lives, but then after that we hit to middle class. But my dad was not a general manager, he was a generous manager. And he was always helping his friends, and I think that kind of honed and shaped my character and my siblings as well. To be one, humble, to have integrity, and to work really, really hard because we knew at a very young age that nothing comes easy. So one of the key defining moments that have led me and the company to be where it is today was when I was 8 years old. Not when I was 28 or when I was 30, 32 or so and so forth, but when I was 8 years old. And that was about 31 years ago. So you roughly can guess my age. Okay, so what happened back then was I was obviously in my primary school, and my dad, who is the person that I admire most till today, said to me, son, I think academically, in terms of what you're doing, that's fine. But what I want you to do is tonight, and for the next 2 weeks, I want to send you out to a pasar malam, a night bazaar, for a night market. For those of you who are not familiar with Malaysia and Singapore, a night bazaar that you have lots of food and lots of eateries and lots of things that you could buy in terms of clothing and so on and so forth. Now I was stunned. He was saying that why would you try to send your son to a night bazaar? So I thought I was going there to buy stuff and eat things, and that wasn't the case. He said, I want you to go there and work your heart out and try to see what you can do over there and learn from that experience. Okay. So he sent me to a stall, and I was there carrying things from the van, shifting inventory, and this was a store that was selling linen and bed sheets, bolster cases, pillowcases. That was my first exposure to what he called the real world. And I was really sad that my dad, and I was really upset with my dad for sending me out there to be tortured, to suffer and to be bullied. Really, really upset. Because I said I'm doing quite well in school, that wasn't a problem. Math, science, and English and Bahasa Malaysia, that's okay. Why send me to a pasar malam? I was really upset. I didn't do poorly my grades. In fact, was very fortunate due to my mom's teaching was always doing very well. But why punish me and go to the pasar malam? So the first day, I did a lot of heavy lifting, and I was there to sell bed sheets. I'm quite used to doing well in schoolwork and whatever, singing and competitions, but that very first night, guess how many bed sheets I actually sold? 0. Very, very sad. Got reprimanded by the stallkeeper, who was not a friend. He's a total stranger. And a few other people who were selling. And then he said to me that you are useless. You can't sell anything. You are passive and you're not moving. So I went back to my dad and told him that, Dad, I've disappointed you. I was utterly almost in tears, and I said that I've done horribly. And then he said, son, you haven't disappointed me. I'm not sure whether you're disappointing yourself, but I would like to ask you this question. Do you want me to give you the answer, which I can give you the answer why you're failing, or do you want to figure out for yourself? So I said that, well, I'll think about it. And then for that whole night, I didn't sleep, not a little wink. I thought and thought and thought, how could I solve this problem? Why did I do miserably in the Pasar Malam store? So what happened was, I didn't sleep. I thought and thought and analyzed it. The next day, I went again to the stall. I didn't give up. And I managed to sell lots and lots and lots of bed sheets and pillowcases for that entire night. And for that second night, I was the top salesperson. Not that I was top among 100 people, but I was top among 3 people over there to sell the most bed sheets and pillowcases.
And the secret was?
And the secret was, it wasn't rocket science. What I realized is that in selling something, if I were to pay a little bit more attention in terms of what people are wearing, an auntie or a lady or a man could come with maybe floral clothing, I would then recommend something that's more floral. If it was something that somebody came with black and white and they like a minimalist style, I would recommend something that's more minimalist and professional and so on and so forth. If somebody came with very vibrant colors, whether it's orange, whether it's red, or whether it's pink, I would recommend something to that effect. It was the start of being analytical to understand what people liked, and then making
I was just
the
going
right
to say that.
recommendation.
That was your mental analytics that started the whole thing. That's your passion for it.
Kind of.
Okay,
unrealized.
so we have only 4 minutes left. So what I want to do is just ask, and I want to ask this question. You know, we know that this world that we are in right now is full of disruptive technologies. You look even in the digital world, we have the world of BDA, IoT, we have augmented reality, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, so much of this disruption. And then that is not including the other disruption in the other areas like material science, like quantum physics, like biotechnology. So there's so much disruption that will be faced, opportunity and threat. There'll be disruptors and there'll be disruptees. So in one sentence, I need you to just tell me, what do you think? What is the one, maybe a combination of disruptive technologies that you are most excited about? In one sentence though, because we are short of time.
Wow, that's going to be hard to do in one sentence. But I think in the payments industry, which I am familiar with, I think the EDC machines and your plastic credit cards can be likened to the old vinyl records that we used to use many years ago. I think some of the people here in this room, I don't think would have even seen a vinyl record. But I think that's the way the credit card, plastic, and machines will go. The way we will pay in the future will be through wallets, virtual wallets, sitting on smartphones, and there'll be a variety of ways to pay. A variety of ways to top up.
So that will be disrupted, totally disrupted.
Yeah,
okay.
It's already happening.
Right. Yeah, it's already happening. Yeah. Ivan, what keeps you excited?
Well, for us in the data space, we're seeing a conversion of lots of data. Social media, mobile data, cloud computing, and of course data analytics that gels everything together. So we're seeing deep learning, we're seeing artificial intelligence, where you have driverless cars that learn from historical patterns, traffic lights, accidents, and becoming smarter. Factories, automation, using data to become smarter, more automated. Fintech, and any of these industries that really leverage on historical data to be smarter and more intelligent. And I think that's a great opportunity, and looking forward to see how we can work together, because it requires an ecosystem of payment, of partners, of infrastructure, of cloud, and again, making the world a much smarter and more intelligent place.
Okay, thank you. So that's all we have time for, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you so much, and have a good day for the rest of the conference. Thank you.